Alright, so here's the thing. At first, I didn't really think much of Nepgear as a character. When I first played Rebirth 2, I really didn't get the impression that she was this main event caliber storytelling character. She seemed too timid. She seemed very passive and reactive. And what I used to like about old Neptune was that she was proactive. But my journey through the Nepverse has shown me a different side of both characters. More and more, I'm starting to see Nepgear as more than just the girl next door, Mary Sue kind of like bland vanilla trope. And the more games come out, the less I am seeing Nep as this proactive, interesting character. Because the longer I went through this journey in Neptunia, the more I realized how much better Nep was in the early days. See, people seem to really rip on me a lot because I say the OG trilogy is better than the Rebirth trilogy, and while I certainly do believe that this is still true, I'm going to explain how Nepgear changes the formula a bit. Because with Nepgear, I noticed something. She's a slow burn character, and that's what a lot of people don't like about Nepgear and love about Neptune, because by the end of the day, if you play the game to full completion, play all the endings, you start to get this different understanding. You can't really take back things like the Conquest ending or the True ending, and these two are the endings that matter most in Nepgear's development. But with Neptune, and I hate having to do these comparisons, but unlike, with Neptune, she's aging faster than, Milk the day before expiration, and Nepgear is kind of like morphing into a better main character like the finest of wines. Because the more you compare her main role in Mark II and Rebirth 2, and her supporting role in V2/V2 War, and the more you see Neptune in both Victory and Rebirth 3, Neptune in Hyper Devotion of War, which she's not main character of, but she's sort of a pseudo main character of, Mega Tag Mention Blanc vs. Zombies, Action U, 4 Goddesses on fucking line. God, she was the fucking worst in that game. She doesn't really come across as main character potential or main character material. And sure, Super Neptunia RPG sort of eased the blow on this, but then the bad ending happened, and I know that's not the canonical ending, but you can't really judge whether an ending is canonical in a spin-off. But that's beside the point. Neptune's character ages poorly as a main character, and it doesn't help that Super Dimension Neptune vs. Sega Hard Girls, which I've recently gone back into playing, she doesn't work as well as a main character. She actually works better as a supporting character. Nepgear, on the other hand, the more I see Neptune, the more I miss Nepgear as a main character. And Nepgear is a brilliantly made character because she is the ultimate coming of age story. The problem is, ironically enough, the same problem I'm making today, and that's the comparisons. But I'm on the opposite. What makes my aspect a little less ironic is that I'm on the opposite end of the normal spectrum of this. With my comparisons, I don't hail Neptune anymore as this great main protagonist. Neptune, along with a lot of other characters in the series, have only gotten worse over time. Vert, Blanc, Noir, even Neptune. But I think the biggest reason why Neptune as a main protagonist fails is ironically is emblematic from it harkens from Super Neptunia RPG's bad ending. I think that one of the other reasons why I love that ending so much is that it also is an emblem and a euphemism for basically how I feel in Neptune as a character. And the more I see the Conquest ending, and the more I see the bad ending for Super Neptunia RPG, all these different endings, both canon and not canon, really just show the stark differences. Nepgear as a serious character really works. Neptune as a serious character gets her back turned on by Chrome. And I think that's and keep in mind, this is a version of Neptune I actually like in Super Neptunia RPG. forget the fucking rest of, like, say, fucking, like, Four Goddesses Online and Mega Tag Mention. Those two are probably the worst iterations of Neptune. Even Victory pales in comparison to Mega Tag Mention or even Four Goddesses Online as a main character. And Nepgear, she hasn't been given many opportunities to shine. And the best part is, overall, Nepgear's overall character score as a main character, I'd say, is an A rank. She's not quite IF levels, but she's a far cry better than a D rank like Neptune. I think the only main character I think was worse is Blanc, and that's just because she's a fucking horrible writer, as both in meta and in kayfabe, but fucking hell. I think Hyper Devotion to War was, made a better main character than Four Goddesses Online or Mega Tag Mention. And Action U was just a nothing story. I just can't stomach Neptune anymore, and I know this is a lot of this features me complaining, but what solidifies Nepgear as this quintessential protagonist is probably best explained in both the true ending and in especially the conquest ending. I cannot praise that ending enough, despite how contrived it is. And honestly, the reason why her character works so well is because of her hesitant nature, that when the shackles come off, and then on top of that, when the consequences follow, she has far more weight to her character. I think the best iteration of Neptune as a main protagonist, for example, is, in fact, the OG Neptunia. I've already given a video as to why the original Neptunia was inherently superior. Like, her best iteration. Like, the original Neptunia's writing was brilliant. I've already made a video on that. I might end card it, I don't know. But I can say this, with the small amount of time we've had with Nepgear as a main protagonist, the fact that she's, I think the biggest part of the fact is that one of the best reasons why she's a much better protagonist is that she, unlike Neptune, hasn't had her purity diluted. And I'm not like talking a waifu purity, but as like a main protagonist level of purity. I can't stand it. I can't tolerate Neptune anymore. And I think the best part about the Super Nep RPG ending, aside from the drastic consequences that this abandonment leads, is the fact that it feels like me turning my back on Neptune as a main protagonist as well. I think Neptune is far more suited to side character, and ironically enough, thanks to the conquest ending and true ending, I think Nepgear is far more suited to main character. Shut the fuck up, Vert. Anywho, thanks for watching. I'm OneMan. Like the video if you have not already, subscribe if you are new, click the bell and select all to be notified of more of my content. Follow me on Twitch at OneManCast. Follow me and make sure you keep your notifications on. And also, consider joining my fanfic group. I need voice actors. I need some major help in making that goal a reality. I find that if we can get this fanfic off the ground, we might be able to make something new, interesting in the field of fiction, where everything is basically watered down and sanitized. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm OneMan. I'm going to head on out. Have a good one.